Tonight on News Hour, cost of education soars as parents and schools struggle to cope. President Tinubu urges expansion of China-Nigeria currency swap to boost Nigeria's economy. Kano's largest kola nut market with huge potential struggles with poor infrastructure. And on the international scene, calm returns to Chad's capital following deadly attack on presidential palace. Good evening. Welcome to Trust TV News Hour. I am Sumaya Abubakar. And now the details. Stakeholders in the education sector and parents in Jos, the Plateau State capital, have raised concerns that the rising cost of acquiring education in Nigeria will affect knowledge acquisition in the country. According to them, the impact will not only affect the learning process, but also the overall development of the country. Ado Musa completes the report.
The rising cost of education in Nigeria has become a pressing national issue, affecting all levels of learning, from primary to tertiary institutions. Many families are struggling to afford school fees, textbooks, and other essential learning materials, leaving children at risk of being sent home.
Really, the cost of education is affecting the children directly. Why? Because if you look at the learning material, the price of learning material is very high now. Parents are not be able now to buy the material for students.
As a parent, I think it is beyond comparison, because let me just take this to save our time. My elder sister was complaining last year that her first child, that she bought books, Macmillan, that book that's about, I think, 190-something thousand naira, just for her first child. And do you know what? They said the second child cannot use that book. So don't you think that is a serious problem in Nigeria?
We cannot, this 3 square meal, we cannot get it. And talk more of paying our children's school fees. That is why sometimes you see them sending our children away from the school. And sometimes when they send them away from the school, their life is at risk, because we don't know where they go. Some of them don't even come home. They follow company or friends.
The parents are not having enough to pay the school fees and other aspects of life.
School principals and proprietors in Jos attribute the high cost of education to rising operational expenses, inflation, and inadequate funding for the sector.
Actually, if you want to maintain or manage school, at least you need to pay heavily. I mean, the staffing, maintaining the infrastructure, maintaining the school in general. So this, if you want to compare it with the level of education today and the schools, so you have to charge a bit higher.
Let me cite an instance with the production of, maybe, let me call it locally decks. The decks one we use in the past is not more than 10,000 naira. But today, for a school, or for one to produce a decks, costing almost 60,000 to 70,000 naira per one.
Emmanuel Dang, a lecturer at the University of Jos, warns that the rising cost of education will have far-reaching consequences for the nation's development.
When people are becoming disenchanted with the educational system, it means that the future is going to be very, very dangerous, going to be very dicey, because we are breeding a generation that will come up that may not have the requisite knowledge in order to run the entire system, so everything will crumble. So this is a very serious pandemic issue.
Stakeholders insist that unless the government steps in to address the rising cost, the future of quality education for Nigeria's next generation may be at risk.
Well, the implication is that in the near future, certainly we may be graduating quacks. I mean, in all various fields, quack teachers, quack doctors, and whether we like it or not, these students must be the teachers of our children, the doctors of our own children, or in the near future.
I want to appeal to the government to look at their own side and see how they can be aiding them. Because any individual who operates a school today, if really you want to meet up with the standards and you don't have the means, there is a problem there.
Just a brief look at the 2025 budget that was presented by the president last year, a budget of over 45 trillion naira. And when you check into that particular budget, you discover that less than 3.5 trillion is what was allocated to education. Now, looking at it in line with what we want to achieve, you will discover that we have less than 6% of the budget going to education, in which the UNESCO have as a benchmark that not less than 26% of budget should be allocated to education.
The federal government has repeatedly assured Nigerians of its commitment to improving the standard of living. But for parents in Jos and beyond, the plea remains clear: subsidize education to give every child a chance at quality learning. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
The management of Christ Methods International School in Isao, Ikorodu, Lagos State, has suspended one of its teachers, Stella Nwadigo, who was accused of mistreating and physically abusing a 3-year-old boy, Abayomi Michael. A video shared on X captured the teacher slapping the child. However, the Lagos State Domestic and Sexual Violence Agency on Wednesday confirmed the teacher's arrest. On Thursday, the school management announced Nwadigo's suspension while describing development as a troubling incident, saying the teacher's act is contrary to the school's values and principles, the cable reports. In the meantime, an Ogba Chief Magistrate Court in Lagos has ordered the remand of that 45-year-old primary school teacher, Stella Nwadigo, for allegedly assaulting a 3-year-old primary school pupil in Ikorodu area of the state. The teacher was caught on camera allegedly slapping the 3-year-old child in the class. The video of the teacher assaulting the child had gone viral on social media. She was consequently arrested and detained by the Family Support Unit, FSU, of Ikorodu Police Division. The Lagos State Police Public Relations Officer Benjamin Hundeyin, who confirmed the latest twist, stated that Stella Nwadigo was arraigned on the orders of the State Commissioner of Police, Olarawaju Ishola, for indecent treatment and assault of a child. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on Thursday urged the government of the People's Republic of China to increase the $2 billion currency swap between Nigeria and China to enhance trade between the two countries. He also called for an upward review of the $50 billion aid package for Africa, which China's President Xi Jinping announced last year. China and Nigeria recently renewed their currency swap agreement, valued at 15 billion yuan, approximately $2 billion, to enhance trade and investment. Receiving the Minister of Foreign Affairs of China, Wang Yi, at the State House Abuja, the president said increasing the level of currency swaps will speed up the infrastructural development in Nigeria and deepen the strategic bilateral relations. Responding, Yi said Chinese investments in the country would focus on employment generation and infrastructural development. He said the Chinese National Development Bank had started funding some development projects.
Under the strategic planning of President Xi Jinping and President Tinubu, China-Nigeria relations have achieved 3 major outcomes. First, we have achieved a new leap in the characterization of our relations. Our 2 presidents jointly announced the elevation of China-Nigeria relations to a comprehensive strategic partnership. Second, we have worked together to establish a new platform. The first plenary session of the Intergovernmental Committee between China and Nigeria has been successfully held, contributing to the elevation in quality of our cooperation. Third, our cooperation at the international arena has reached new heights. Our 2 sides have coordinated closely in international and regional affairs and worked together for the collective rise, development, and vitalization of the Global South. Over more than half a century since the establishment of diplomatic ties, no matter how changes occur in the international landscape, China and Nigeria have always, in the spirit of mutual respect and equality, deepened our friendship and pursued practical cooperation.
The partnership reflects our shared vision, the shared vision of our two nations to foster economic growth, sustainable development, and mutual prosperity. So I would say that the goal is to improve the livelihood of our peoples. And this, of course, is the vision and commitment of China, the founder of modern China, Sun Yat-sen, President Xi Jinping, and our very own President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So they share the same vision when it comes to this.
Now joining us via Zoom to give an insight on this is the, of course, Executive Director of Grassroots Center for Rights and Civic Orientation, Amsri Ajanaku. Good evening and thank you for joining us.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's good to have you. Now we've seen President Bola Ahmed Tinubu make, great efforts to get a lot of investment for Nigeria. But what would you say about the process of it? Would you say that they have been, politically right and smart decision in order to not find ourselves in a situation where it's not really favorable for the country when it comes to the agreements and the MOU signing?
Yes, so when we look at President Tinubu's foreign policy objectives, one of his foreign policy objectives talks about driving economic development. And I mean, he said that in his inaugural speech on May 29, 2023. And we have seen him, try to get very close to China. Last year, he was in China and he expressed a lot of admiration for the Chinese model of economic development. And he talked about, Chinese innovation, Chinese infrastructure, and, how he wants to replicate that in Nigeria. And so looking at the push now for the currency swap, an increase in the currency swap, and also looking at the global dynamics, the facts of sometimes what people have criticized to be the over-reliance on, the dollar, think that would be a step in the right direction because trade between Nigeria and China has grown in leaps and bounds, and as such, we want to have a kind of model in place that would ensure that our currency is not dissipated as a result of dollar being in between Nigeria and Chinese trade. So on that score, I think that's a politically wise decision. But there is also a downside to some of the discussions around the opacity of Chinese development assistance. And that has been one of our concerns in civil society. Many of these development initiatives are opaque, and citizens don't get to see what the objectives are on the ground in order to monitor them sufficiently and ensure that the right things are done.
I mean, talking about these concerns, we've seen Chinese intervention in other African countries, talking about East Africa. Would you say that you feel safe with the level of, bilateral relationship happening between Nigeria and China, when sometimes we've seen a really bad outcome for African countries at the other end of these major agreements?
Yes, so this is where I believe strongly that we need to bring the pressure to bear, because one of the concerns with China's Belt and Road Initiative, which is more like the signature project that the Chinese have put forward as their own form of development assistance in Africa and development intervention in Africa. Those projects have been fraught with a lot of lack of transparency, lack of accountability, the fact that people really don't know the value for money components, even though on the other hand, you would say the infrastructure that is being proposed or, that have been done with, some of those initiatives are critically and vitally needed infrastructure. We cannot run away from that those infrastructure are vitally needed in those countries. But on the flip side, it takes citizen pressure from civil society to ask very fundamental questions about what are the details of these agreements, what are the details of these loans we are taking, what is the give or what Nigeria is giving or what Nigeria would be trading off in terms of how it these various agreements and all of that. I think that is what is really not clear to the average citizen, which we must do our part in trying to throw more light on that, bring it to the knowledge of citizens so that they can in turn monitor these projects, for example, and ensure that there is value for money.
All right. I appreciate you. Thank you so much, Ansfree Ajanako. We hope we get to see the better side of this for the country.
Thank you for having me.
Moving on from that story to the political scene. With the 2027 elections just 2 years away, the political landscape is heating up. Opposition figures are ramping up discussions of alliances, coalitions and mergers in a bid to unseat the ruling APC. But how potent are these moves, and can they disrupt the APC's dominance, or will they fizzle out as political posturing? Trust TV's Shafiu Suleiman dives deep into the strategies, exploring the potential impacts of these unfolding permutations on the face and race for power in 2027. Take a look.
The alignment and realignment of forces among political parties and figures is a recurring theme in Nigeria's political landscape. What truly matters, however, is the potency and substance of the discussions being pursued at various levels.
Whether or not there will be a merger is what I cannot confirm right now. So talks are going on. His Excellency Peter Obi always says it, that he's more interested in the now, what Nigerians are going through now.
While some critics view these political shifts as detrimental to the existing zoning arrangements between different regions, others argue that the nation's constitution guarantees an open contest for all Nigerians, regardless of their regional backgrounds. Is the ruling APC losing grounds in the face of growing political alliances?
If zoning is dividing Nigerians, is creating more problem than solving problem, why are we having it? Why are we having it? Now, if President Buhari made mistakes by dominating his cabinet with northerners, what moral justification does Bola have to dominate his cabinet with his tribe men?
Beating them individually, beating them collectively will not be a problem. And looking at the way and manner the reforms of the APC are beginning to yield results, we are convinced, we are comfortable that by the time, at the fullness of time, when some of these things begin to show, the low-hanging fruits will be the ones we are going to rely upon.
Political science and history professors Kamal Bello and Al-Qasim Abba suggest that the collaboration between various political actors to contest for power may not significantly alter the current trajectory of governance.
When Buhari entered in 2015 as APC, some people want to go out of PDP to form another Megal. At the end of the day, they came back and still maintain that PDP.
We have a situation whereby the political parties have no ideology. There's nothing. It's flat. And I often say, well, can anybody tell me the difference between APC and PDP?
The academics agree that the primary factor shaping leadership recruitment for the 2027 elections will be the economy. Nigerians are now more concerned with who can implement policies that will improve their livelihoods, focusing less on regional or ethnic loyalties. Shafiu Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The Labour Party Caretaker Committee has expressed displeasure over the recent remarks of the National Publicity Secretary of the All Progressives Congress, the APC, Felix Moka, which allegedly incited a threat to life against the party's 2023 presidential candidate, Peter Obi. In a statement issued on Thursday by the committee's chairman, Mena D. Usman, The party described the allegation made against Obi as an indicator that the ruling APC lacks the wherewithal to constructively engage national issues. Usman also demanded an apology and a retraction of Morka's offensive statement and urged security agencies to probe the matter. Usman said the opposition party would continue to stand with Obi as it wouldn't be cowed or distracted by threats or intimidation. Morka's earlier interview on Sunday sparked an outrage after he accused Obi of crossing the line in his criticism of President Bola Tinubu's administration, asserting that Obi deserved whatever came his way. Scores of youths in the governing All Progressive Congress, the APC, in Ondo West local government area of Ondo State have kicked against the alleged imposition of some councillorship candidates by the party's leadership ahead of the state local government election fixed for January 19th to 18th of 2025. No fewer than 10 political parties, which also included the PDP, NNPP, the SDP, and the ZLP, have fielded chairmanship and councillorship candidates for the exercise. The aggrieved youths at a protest held on Thursday in Ondo town vehemently rejected the hand-picking of candidates to represent them at the local government area without following the constitution of the party. Displaying placards bearing different inscriptions, the angry youths blocked the Ondo-Akure road, obstructing traffic for several hours to register their displeasure. Felix Akimoladun, a spokesperson for the protesting youth, who expressed his frustration at the selection process, criticized the APC leaders in the local government area for that. You're watching Trust TV News. Coming up. Despite huge economic potential, Kano's biggest kola nut market dealing dilapidated infrastructure. These and more to come after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. If you are just joining us, this is Trust TV News. Here's a recap of our top stories. We brought you the cost of education soars as parents and schools struggle to cope. And President Tinubu urges expansion of China-Nigeria currency swap to boost Nigeria's economy. Moving on to more stories, the Petroleum Retail Outlets Owners Association of Nigeria, Petron, has expressed displeasure over the slow pace of work at the Eleme section of East-West Road. Petron spokesperson Joseph Obele made this known in a statement on Thursday. Quoting the national president of Petron, Billy Gillis-Harry, the statement said the construction company's slow pace of work, despite receiving 33 billion naira from the Federal Ministry of Works, is sabotaging President Bola Tinubu's efforts to ensure the smooth distribution of petroleum products from the newly commissioned Port Harcourt refinery. According to Petron, about 60 retail outlets are negatively impacted by the road construction. Petron recalled that the Minister of Works, David Umahi, at a recent press conference, also complained about the slow pace of work, leading to the issuance of a 7-day ultimatum to Reynolds Construction Company, the RCC, the contractor handling the job. Life is slowly returning to the Agbo Road area following the devastating explosion of a diesel tanker that claimed the lives of 4 individuals and left businesses in ruins. While the physical scars may fade, the emotional toll lingers, and victims are in the painstaking process of rebuilding their lives from the wreckage. Jonathan Anwanyai brings us the latest update.
Normalcy is gradually being restored at the traffic light junction on the old Lagos-Asaba Road in Agbo, where a tragic tanker explosion shocked the community to its core. The wreckage has been cleared, and both human and vehicular movement have resumed, but the emotion scares are far from erased. Residents and business owners are seen repairing their homes and shops, while some look to both government assistance and the kindness of others to help them rebuild what they have lost.
Everything done. So I'm pleading to the kind-hearted individual from Nigeria for policies. Anywhere government to come to our aids because we have nothing to start from, so that we'll have something to start or feed our families.
Not about the guso, now my raw cash when they inside now they cry for. Both the store, both the packet store. How we say now the main store now bonfire. Say my warehouse day in order. That's it. That's not what I'm praying. Let the government and the NDDC let them come assist.
During an assessment visit to the site, Chiedu Abie, chairman of the Niger Delta Development Commission (NDDC), assured the victims of the agency's support in their recovery efforts.
We'll definitely see how best we can support to support the affected persons, because people, as you can see, people have lost their sources of livelihood, and so we call on not just government institutions but also good-spirited individuals to come to the aid of. But we definitely will support them. We're going to compile a list of those that have been affected, determine the losses incurred. That's for those that lost material things, and see how best we can support them.
ABA also extended heartfelt condolences to the families of the deceased, pledging the NDDC's assistance to help them through these difficult times. While life may never fully return to what it was before the explosion, for many, with support and resilience, the affected residents hold hope for recovery and rebuilding. Jonathan Anwanyai, Trust TV News, Asaba.
At least 1,000 victims of flood disasters in 2024, drawn from various local government areas of Bauchi State, have received foodstuffs and relief materials to cushion the impact of the devastating effect of the flood on them. The distribution exercise was conducted by the Nigerian Red Cross Society under the supervision of ECOWAS Flood Response Project on humanitarian assistance in the state. Trust TV's Adamu Imam has the details. Apologies for that. Moving on to more stories. The House of Representatives Committee on Environment has frowned at what it described as an abysmal low release of funds to the Ministry of Environment. This, the committee said, has led to several missed opportunities to address environmental challenges facing the country. Speaking at the budget defense of the ministry, chairman of the committee, Julius Pondi, listed such environmental challenges to include deforestation, pollution, erosion, and the effect of climate change on the various communities and the nation at large. Pondi said the outcomes of the budget review will set the tone for planning and resource allocation in the year 2025 budget. He also expressed concern that effective 1st January 2024, the Environmental Health Council of Nigeria and 13 professional bodies and councils were removed from budgetary allocations, adding that the same 13 bodies has since been reinstated, leaving only the ECHO. Now, he asked the Minister of Environment to work closely with the committee to ensure that ECHO is reinstated.
As a committee, we are disposed to increase budgetary allocations for this critical sector, in as much as we see key projects that are envisioned that will strengthen climate resilience, combat pollution, enhance community awareness, and ensure accountability in the year 2025 budget proposal of the ministry and its agencies.
They have done thorough work, which I really appreciate. So it's good that we also go back and look at the things that they have raised issues with, and we try to resolve it. So sometimes defense of budget is not a one-day affair. I know when I was in FCT, sometimes it takes 3-4 days to go and make presentations because the budget is coming until close to the year. But sometimes I found that when it comes earlier, it comes here 3-4 times to depend the budget. So I think it's quite healthy. I have no worry about it. It's something that we'll resolve by next week, inshallah.
The Director General of the Nigerian Center for Disease Control and Prevention, NCDC, Dr. Jide Idris, says the country is not under any serious threat from the human metapneumovirus. Idris, who disclosed this on Thursday, said the HMPV is a respiratory virus that can cause illnesses ranging from mild cold-like symptoms to severe respiratory infections, particularly in young children, older adults, and individuals with weakened immune systems. Dr. Idris noted that the NCDC is currently in a monitoring and alert phase, taking guidance from the World Health Organization. Earlier, the NCDC announced that a risk assessment conducted in collaboration with the Federal Ministry of Health and partners had classified risks of HMPV in Nigeria as moderate. In a public advisory issued on Monday and signed by Dr. Idris, the NCDC assured Nigerians that it is closely monitoring the situation and has implemented measures to ensure public health safety. The Lagos State Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture has responded to a viral video that surfaced online, shedding light on an altercation at the J. Randall Center for Yoruba Culture and History. In a statement released on Thursday by Seriki Omawumi, the Director of Public Affairs, Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture, the ministry dismissed claims of misconduct against its commissioner, Toke Benson Awoyinka, and revealed shocking details surrounding the incident. According to the ministry, Benson Awoyinka was on an official inspection of the center when she uncovered an unauthorized canteen operated by the center's director, Kudus Onikeku. The commissioner questioned the legality of the establishment and initiated its closure. However, events took a dramatic turn when Onikeku allegedly resisted the directive and involved a group of unidentified individuals. The ministry strongly condemned the recording, calling it a breach of protocol, and accused the individuals of assaulting a senior female ministry official during the scuffle. Across Nigeria, kola nuts are more than just a food item. They are integral to local culture, playing a central role in ceremonies, rituals, and daily life. At the heart of this tradition lies the bustling Mariri kola nut market in Kano, known for its year-round activity and diverse array of kola nut varieties. Despite its cultural significance, the market faces challenges related to infrastructure, taxation, and the delicate handling of this precious commodity. Trust TV's Abdulaziz Ibrahim reports.
The Mariri Kola Nut Market attracts merchants, transporters, and porters from all corners of the region, all depending on the steady flow of kola nuts to sustain their livelihoods. Kola nut is a precious food here. People often wonder if it's just for eating, as the market is busy all year round, except early in Ramadan. The slogan on one of the vehicles, which reads Goro Bangagare Kaba, captures just how important this trade is to the community. Yes, we have been able to achieve a lot in the kola nut business. So I'm the driver of this vehicle, and we named it that way to celebrate all our achievements. This type of goro is called Mizan Goro, and through its trade, I have traveled to many towns in Niger Republic and several states in Nigeria. The kola nuts sold here are typically wrapped in small paper priced between 18,000 naira and 21,000 naira, depending on the variety. Larger merchants sell them in bulk bags. At this section, we sell varieties like Gorongini, Mangoro, and Nagana. The most expensive variety can cost up to 210,000 naira per bag. Though not native to northern Nigeria, kola nuts are widely consumed across the region. They are deeply respected in ceremonies in the eastern and western parts of the country, where they are cultivated in several states. We buy from places like Ore, Shagamu, Ondo, Ikare in the southwestern part of the country, and even abroad. We go to places such like Abidjan in Côte d'Ivoire, then we have Cameroon and also in Guinea. So this is the main hub for kola. that attracts buyers from far and wide to this place in Kano State. And those who buy here are the ones who go to sell the kola nuts in various markets, not only in Kano State, but even beyond this state. With Nigeria producing 52.4% of the world's kola nuts, the Mariri Market Association is calling on both federal and state governments to provide support, particularly in the areas of infrastructure, taxation, and immigration procedures. We urge the federal government to reduce taxes on routes used to bring in these kola nuts, and we also request better immigration check processes, as the fragile product often suffers losses during some of these checks. And then additionally, we seek improvements to the Lagos-Kano highway, which presents a lot of challenges for our vehicles. And then finally, we ask the government to improve the infrastructure where we offload the kola nuts here in the market. Despite these challenges, the Mariri kola nut market continues to thrive as a vital trade hub, sustaining both the local economy and cultural heritage while striving for better infrastructure and government support. Abdulaziz Ibrahim, Trust TV News, Kano.
The Borno State government has pledged to continue prioritizing education as a key driver for the state's development, according to the administration's long-term transformation and development plans. This commitment was shared by the Commissioner for Education, Science, Technology and Innovation, Lawan Wakilbe, during a press briefing at the state government house. Wakilbe highlighted that in 2024 alone, the state government allocated 9.6 billion naira towards local and foreign scholarships for various tertiary institutions. Over 31,000 students have benefited from the scholarship scheme aimed at addressing the workforce and also challenges they exacerbating by insurgency. The commissioner also announced plans to introduce additional scholarships and sponsorship programs in 2025, reinforcing the government's focus on education.
401 students are being sponsored by the state to study medicine in the Federal University of Health Science, Azare. And 132 students are also sponsored by the state to study medicine and engineering in Al-Ansar University. By next ESCO, many of you will now, those who will witness, would see that the ministry is going to present a memo for over 4 billion naira to sustain the scholarships we have. Our budget for scholarship this year, we presented a proposal of 12 billion, but I think it ended up around 10 to 9 billion. When the book is published, we are going to see. So it's an elaborate scheme. They are all there, and we have kept them there, and we expect them to continue.
The Nigerian Communications Commission has scheduled a stakeholders meeting in Abuja to discuss the proposed 100% tariff hike in the telecom sector. The meeting will bring together representatives from major consumer advocacy groups and other relevant industry stakeholders to deliberate on the implications of the price increase. President of the National Association of Telecommunications Subscribers, Adeola Ogungbanjo, who has been a major critic of the proposal, confirmed the development on Wednesday. The operators, a major contributor to the Nigeria's economy, argued that the hike is necessary to offset rising operational costs, including increasing fuel prices and the depreciation of the naira. The proposal has sparked concern among consumers' rights groups, including the NATCOMs, which fear that such an increase could further strain Nigeria's already financially burdened population. Now, against the backdrop of the ongoing debate about an imminent tariff hike in the telecommunications sector, Abdullahi Ahmed in this explainer takes a look at the price hike under the Tinubu's administration and the impact on the polity. Take a look.
Since President Bola Ahmed Tinubu took office in May of 2023, Nigeria has seen major shifts in policies, especially in tariffs for goods and services. These changes are hitting home for many Nigerians, and here's what you need to know. On May 29, on his inauguration day, the president removed the long-standing fuel subsidy overnight. Petrol prices shot from 185 naira per litre to well over 500 naira, and in some areas 700 naira per litre. The government says it's saving billions, but Nigerians are feeling the pinch in their empty pockets. In April of 2024, electricity tariffs also shot up. Band A customers, for example, saw their rates jump from 68 naira to 225 naira per kilowatt hour, a 240% increase. The goal, to remove subsidies and save 1.5 trillion naira. But for many Nigerians, high electricity costs means tougher times. From September 1st, 2024, getting a Nigerian passport became pricier. A 32-page passport now costs 50,000 naira instead of the old price, which was 35,000 naira, while a 64-page passport is now worth 100,000 naira, which is up from the old price of 70,000 naira. Authorities claim the hike ensures quality, but many citizens say it's just another burden. Telecom operators are now pushing for a 100% increase in tariffs to cover rising operational costs. Initially, the Nigeria Communications Commission reassured Nigerians that there will be no hikes. But now, the NCC is holding talks with operators about a 40% increase starting January this year. If approved, 1 gigabyte of data will now cost at least 1,400 naira, which is up from the old price of 1,000 naira. Nigerians are left confused and concerned as the messaging keeps changing. So, how do these compare with past administrations? Fuel price increase and electricity tariff hikes aren't particularly new in Nigeria. Previous administrations made smaller and gradual changes. The Tinubu administration's approach, however, is bolder, bigger hikes and faster timelines, all in the name of economic reforms. The ripple effects are everywhere. Higher costs in transportation, food and other goods are more expensive. And the public outcry is glaring, with protests and frustrations over limited palliative measures. With inflation at 36.6%, rising prices are shrinking household budgets. The current debate on telecommunication tariffs means there will be a digital divide because higher telecom costs could limit internet access for many. These reforms are aimed at stabilizing Nigeria's economy and reducing government spending on subsidies, but they come with immediate pains for millions of Nigerians. To ease the burdens, experts say the government must act fast, provide social support, and communicate openly with the Nigerian people. The road ahead appears quite challenging, but with the right strategies, experts say Nigeria can navigate these tough transitions toward a more sustainable future.
You're watching Trust TV News. We'll take a break, and when we come back, the news will continue. Welcome back, and thank you for staying with us on Trust TV News. Let's join Yusuf Akogu for Business News Update.
Welcome to Stock Market Update. I am Yusuf Akogu. Bullish run continue on NGX this Thursday as investors continue to take position in key sectors. All share index appreciated by over 1,000 basis points there. Let's see how it went down today. The top gainers from today's trading is MTN Nigerian PLC. MTN gained 10% to close at 242 naira per share. Honey Flower also went up there as well, 9.89% to close at 9 naira and 11 kobo per share. Universal Insurance Company PLC, 9.86% it gained to close at 78 kobo per share there. This has pushed up the index up by 1.25%. Volume of trade 481.69 million shares, value at 12.8 billion naira in a list of 12,824 lead exchanges among investors. Looking at the losing equities there, Suno Assurance lead the table there, 9.99% to close at 8 naira and 11 kobo per share. Tantalizer PLC also down 9.96% to close at 2 naira and 44 kobo per share. TPLC ended on the negative side of the market, 9.68% downward to close at 2 naira and 52 kobo per share there. Let's see the global stock market and exchange rate data for today. And that's Stock Market Update. I am Yusuf Akogu.
Thank you, Yusuf Akogu, for that update. Now, moving on to the international stories. Chad's capital was calm early on Thursday, the morning after armed men attacked the presidential palace, sparking a battle that killed 19 people, mostly assailants, according to the government. Beefed up security and roadblocks set up late on Wednesday had been lifted in the area around the presidential palace, where traffic was back to normal. Heavy gunfire erupted near the presidential complex just before 8 p.m. local time on Wednesday in the center of N'Djamena, the capital of the military-ruled Central African country. Government spokesperson Abdirahman Koulamala said a 24-member commando unit carrying weapons, machetes and knives attacked the guards of the presidential palace before being swiftly stopped. The group was dressed in civilian clothing and came from a poor neighborhood in the south of the city, he said. Shell-shocked Los Angeles residents on Thursday surveyed the devastation from the wind-whipped fires that have engulfed entire neighborhoods and claimed at least 5 lives as forecasters warned of further dangerous conditions. The several blazes were still burning out of control with 0% containment of fires in upscale Pacific Palisade and the northern suburb of Altadena, which have both been incinerated. Over 130,000 people across the western U.S. metropolis remained under evacuation orders as meteorologists warned that critical windy and dry conditions, though abated, were not over. But evacuation orders were lifted on Thursday morning after emergency workers succeeded in dousing the so-called Sunset Fire. Fast-moving flames fanned by powerful winds have leveled more than 2,000 structures, many of them multi-million-dollar homes, in a tragedy that the U.S. media described as the worst in the city's history. China on Thursday said it had recorded 5 cases of a new pox strain, where it's the mpox, but added that the outbreak has been effectively handled. According to the Chinese health authorities, the source of infections is believed to be somewhere and recorded in, of course, the DRC, that's people living there. 4 people who had close contact with the patient were found to be infected by the strain and were showing relatively mild symptoms by the rashes and blisters. The Chinese Center for Disease Control and Prevention said in a statement. To date, no cases have been found among other contacts, the health authorities said, and the cases of mpox have been reported in more than 120 countries since 2022, according to the WHO. The mpox is caused by a virus transmitted to humans by animals, but can also spread from persons to persons through the physical contact. Let's now join Adeni Adishafe for Sports News Update.
The National Sports Commission (NSC) has approved a foreign training tour in India for the Nigerian under-19 women team, who are currently preparing to feature in 2025 ICC under-19 Women's T20 Cricket World Cup, slated for Malaysia from 18th January. The Director General of the National Sports Commission, Bukola Olapade, said the Commission is working closely with the Nigerian Cricket Federation on logistics, technical and financial support to ensure Nigeria puts up a good performance at the World Cup. This is the first time Nigeria will feature at any level of a Cricket World Cup, which also shows the level of silent work that the President of the Nigerian Cricket Federation, Wuyi Akpata, and his team are doing, according to Olapade. Olapade, alongside NSC Chairman Shehu Diko, are excited about the World Cup because it fits into the Renew Hope initiative for Nigerian sports economy reigns, where young girls can be taken off the street and are well engaged to make a livelihood from sport participation. Nigeria is among the 4 countries that will debut from the 16 nations that will feature in 2025 World Cup. Other debutants are Samoa, Nepal, and host Malaysia. And still on sport, Nigerian table tennis star Quadri Aruna will kick off his new year campaign as 5th seed at the WTT Star Contender at Lusail Sport Arena in Doha, Qatar. Aruna started 2025 as the second highest rated African, ranked 21st in the latest ITTF rankings, behind Egypt's Omar Sarr in 18th in the world. Quadri, one of the top-ranked players at the WTT Star Contender Doha, is seeded number 5, following Japan's Tomokazu Harimoto, Germany's Dankui, Germany's Patrick Franziska, and Slovenia's Darko Djogic, the top 4 seeds in the men's singles. Doha has been a favorable venue for Aruna, reaching the semi-final stage at 2022 edition, while hoping to replicate or surpass the achievement. As one of the top seeds and the only African competing in the men's singles, Aruna has received a bye to round of 32, where he is expected to face the winner between England's Liam Pitchford and Kazakhstan's Kiri Gerasimenko. Meanwhile, Egypt's Dina Menshrev will commence her quest for glory in the second round of the women's singles against China's Shen Yi. The 2024 African champion is making a return to the international scene after excusing herself from 2024 African Championships in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. And lastly, in sport, NFL President Ibrahim Gusau has declared that the home-based Super Eagles are heading to the African Nations Championship CHAN with the ambition of winning the trophy, marking their return to the tournament after a 12-year absence. Gusau highlighted the potential display by the team during their qualifiers against Ghana, emphasizing their resilience at the Nigerian spirit shown particularly in the intense away match in Accra.
Going forward now before the AFCON, I think we have about 2 windows, which we intend to make sure that we utilize them effectively to make sure that they have good preparation. And then locally, as I have said, we are trying to see how we can inject these young girls from our local league, which we feel are going to bring a lot of positive impact into the team.
Gusau detailed a comprehensive plan for the team, which includes domestic and foreign campaign, alongside quality-friendly matches to ensure peak readiness. The NFL president also underscored the importance of integrating local talent into the national team, tasking the new coach with scouting standout players from the CHAN squad for potential elevation to Super Eagles. That's Sport News. I'm Adeni Ajishafe.
And with that, we wrap up Trust TV News Hour. Do not forget to follow us across all our social media platforms and join our YouTube live stream for more news programs and documentaries. I am Sumaya Abubakar. Thank you so much for watching and do have a good night.